What's up guys, Cedo Cards here for another video. This one's going to go through a number of things. We're seeing more and more items out in the wild, a mixture of Project K items, a mixture of the 2025 Riftbound in English, and I wanted to just run through a number of these different categories. Before we do that, as usual, first off, I want to say a major thank you. We've seen loads of new subscribers. That's great. Also, our videos seem to have been picked up by the algorithm, the released, and I think that's all thanks to you guys. It's one, I think you guys like the long form content. Two, I think that translates to the algorithm picking up the videos and pushing them out further, because we've gone from having sort of 100 views in a video, which to me was crazy already, to now 600, which was really crazy. It's interesting, I did post a short 5-minute video yesterday, and that doesn't seem to have been picked up. So I think what that's suggesting is that you guys like the long form content, and with that it gets pushed out to you more, and then of course it pushes out further. That, and also I think perhaps YouTube is trying to not promote the shorter content, sort of 5 minutes, 6-7 minutes on YouTube outside of shorts. So I think YouTube's trying to push the behavior of, if you want to produce short form content, do it in the shorts section, and if you want to have long form content pushed, do it in the section we are in now. That's my thought. Of course, if you're a larger YouTuber, then YouTube doesn't care. It's going to push your content out regardless, because of course it makes money from ads. But I think if you are growing and you're a new channel, then I think long form content is a good avenue. Ultimately, I like long form content because I like to not ramble, but I have a lot on my mind that I want to talk about, so it benefits me. So I think I will stick to, well, unintentionally I will stick to long form content, but it seems to be doing well. So again, thank you guys for watching so far. It's been doing great. It really surprised me, to be honest. But yeah, let's go for the topic of today. As I mentioned, we'll go through some cards. We'll just discuss what we're seeing in the market. But just before we do that, actually, I know I mentioned the Worlds yesterday, but I didn't actually mention when it would be releasing. So of course, for those who are actually in the market already, looking to buy Riftbound items, not just sort of window shopping, the Worlds bundle is coming out tomorrow for purchase. It will most likely be a 1-day purchase window. For Arcane, it lasted for maybe 3-4 hours. For Worlds, it may last the same, but once it's done, it's done. So it will be tomorrow, 9 AM PT. For me in the UK, that is 4 PM. So just check your local times, because you do want to get there on the spot, just purchase it, and then not have to stress about, do I get it, do I not? So again, that is tomorrow at 9 AM PT. That is 4 PM my time. Not sure what time it is for East in the US and so, but just be on the lookout. Another thing, just a comment from the game director on the Riftbound Discord. He's made a point of product allocation, and it's good news in my opinion. Personally, I think this is very healthy and this is a great start. But this does only show information based on the Riot merch store, so the official product distribution system, as opposed to your local game store and other vendors. So Dave, from effectively the director of the Riftbound product, has mentioned a few things. He says, "Hey Riftbounders, we've seen some We've seen some feedback from pop-up from the community coming out of our second Riftbound pre-order. Wanted to drop in to share some thoughts around availability, getting cards to the hands of the players around the world." So effectively what he's mentioning is that there was a second drop around the same time as, can't recall, it was about a week ago, that it was, roughly 21st, around a week ago, that it was dropped, that you could purchase some booster boxes again on the website. And I didn't purchase anymore. I was fine as is. But what they're seeing is that, of course, demand is high and it's difficult to get product. One, it's a good thing. It lets Riot Games know that people are interested in the TCG. And it's healthy. It lets them know that, okay, we need to start looking 3, 4, 5 sets ahead, really get the artists up and running and ready to go to produce more great cards. And as I've said, to address that, we've already hit additional reprints that will hit stores between the launch and end of the year. And of course, timing does vary by the region. Of course, they want everyone to be able to get access to the product, and of course, we need that for the start of a TCG. Of course, they've come into the TCG space in a very awkward time. This is a space where, stock is being swiped left and right by scalpers, by investors. So it's a really damning time to join the TCG space, but at the same time, it is a great space for opportunity and a great time for opportunity. But it's a very narrow window for you to be able to, get your space for it. So they've said their goal is for everyone to play the game, and of course, you need that for an additional set. So they'll be monitoring demand and adjust their plans as needed, and this is good. I appreciate that this is mentioned out loud, because Pokemon will, cry and say, we hear you, there's enough stock, and then they won't say anything else. But, I'm glad that they are being upfront and saying that we will adjust our plans as needed. It's very much appreciated. And again, they're concerned about bad actors, as we said, scalpers, people using bots. Of course, they mentioned we want Riftbound to be accessible to you, so they've implemented a couple of tools, such as requiring a Riot account. Of course, that's been there from the beginning, or at least maybe not from the beginning, but for the arcane drop. And they said allowing only one purchase of a booster box per Riot account from their website. So yeah, I think that's fine. It's fine. I know some people would want more than one booster box. For example, if I were to buy more, I'd probably want more than one for Spirit Forge, for example. But then at the point of local game stores, other vendors online, you can often buy 4 or 5 a case at a time. So, you can't exactly solve the issue once you've left your own official distribution space, but at least it is a good sign that they themselves are trying to actively stop bad actors. And it's a sign of good leadership in the team, good management, because they themselves are TCG players, they themselves are League of Legends players. They know that, they know the demand and the hype behind the game, and they want to make sure that this does get into the hands of everyone as opposed to bad actors. And they're not stupid. I think these guys are very much on the ball. They know that there are bad actors around there, so they're trying to avoid it. So they're monitoring the data closely, how the accounts are, unique IDs, and so far they've seen that's pretty good. In fact, 80% were from accounts made before 2025, which is dope. And of course, they are continuing to watch, and they state that it's not a solved problem, and that is true to the point. It will never be solved. It can only be managed, and I hope they do manage it well. And of course, thank you for being excited for the game. He's hyped, and we are hyped, and so on and so on. And just as mentioned yesterday, as I mentioned, it's now showing on the League of Legends client. So when you do open up League of Legends, you do see this here, so you can then get ready for it. Okay, so just before we go to the more sales that we've seen for 2025 Riftbound, again, not too many. There are a lot, to be honest, but only a few that I want to point out of interest. Really maybe 3 or 4. But 2024 Riftbound Project K, we have seen some more sightings of items in the wild. The Yasuo legend card, so of course we have seen in previous videos the Jinx legend card from Project K that sold for $2,000. We've now seen Yasuo in the wild for 1,600. These are of course the price that they are offering it at. It doesn't mean that it will sell at this price, but I will keep an eye out on these. I have these all saved in groups, so I can return to them later. I can just open them up again and refresh the page, and if they have been sold, they will then appear as sold. So 1,600 for Yasuo. We're seeing 1,200 for a Jinx card. This isn't the legend card, this is just a card within her trial deck. 1,200. Expect these prices. These items are extremely rare. Please expect these prices. You can't expect less, especially in the PSA10. Now it is funny because this is coming from PSA themselves. The centering on this doesn't look fantastic. As you can see, it's heavier on our left than the right. The right is, it's pretty left heavy. Up and down are pretty solid. But I guess PSA dictates what they want to dictate. But we're seeing 1,200 for PSA10. Victor unit card, again, was the 900 for just a unit card, but just this is to be expected. And you just won't find things cheaper at this point, considering how rare these items will be in the wild. Seeing 600 for the Super Mega Death Rocket from Jinx. Again, it's a cool card. 600, I don't think it's 600, but maybe 400, but ultimately PSA kind of dictates their own prices. Seen a Yasuo card, the Last Breath card, 600, so PSA10s. Seen a Volibear card as well, 600, not by PSA, this is by the person that also has the 2024 Project K box. He's trying to sell for 50,000, but we're seeing the PSA10 of the Volibear. Seeing another Volibear card, the Imposing card for 600, another 600, but you know, I say this to say that, you know, we are seeing these items appear in the wild. However, these will disappear as quick as they do show up. So these are just ones to be on the lookout for if you are interested in these and you do have the money for this. Again, as I've said in the past, if you have the money available, go for it. If not, there are other opportunities in the market. You don't need the most sought out after item. There are many others in the market. League of Legends is a fun game. If you want these items in your house or your place you stay at, just, you know, just to look nice, grab it. It will hold value. It will definitely hold value. So you can't go wrong, and you can easily at least sell it for what you paid for, but most likely more. I am not a financial advisor, but you know, this is just my thought process. Things could go down, but in my opinion, I think they'll go up. Okay, moving on to another item. I spoke about this briefly in another video in the PSA10. I spoke briefly on the RE promo card at launch that was given out at many events. So the PSA10 number hasn't changed. I've not seen any new listings. We're looking at around 1,000 still, between 800 to 1,000. Well, 800 climbing to 1,000. But what we're seeing here in the raw card is roughly 200. I mean, this has been climbing a lot. You know, if we look at from start of September, we're looking at $70. Then we have, again, out of stock, we're looking at 100. This was sold for. I should have the dates. I can't. Perhaps I missed it. But we have in September 11th, 125, and then, you know, in October we have seen 200. We have seen some up and downs, 145, 149. If I give this a refresh, 200 in October 22nd as well. 300 in Australian is roughly 225, and that was a few days ago. And you know, we're seeing another 200 as well. So we are seeing it gradually climb. There are going to be fluctuations, as we see here. This one in Germany, so this is a different market. But generally, we are seeing a climb as we see 195, 195, 196. You know, all the way from the 70 way back in September. So if you have an eye for it, you know, definitely be on the lookout. You should see some that are cheaper, hopefully, but currently if we're looking at those for sale, yeah, we're looking at roughly 174, 196. So there are opportunities to get a bit cheaper. Of course, this is in Germany, so this, depending on where you are, there'll be extra shipping. Of course, I don't live too far in the UK, so probably less. 200, so that's what we're looking at the moment. Just mention of the arcane boxes, we are still seeing some stable numbers. It does fluctuate, of course. You know, we see generally we're looking at 240 to 240 to 260. We are looking at an anomaly here in Italy, which is slightly higher, but generally we are seeing stable prices at 230, 235. We see 240 for 2 boxes combined, so or 3 boxes combined actually. So I suppose someone was trying to get some quick money. I guess they just didn't really want to, you know, concern themselves too much. But we are generally seeing 235, 230 for that. And then, you know, I find this interesting, in the booster box space, in America, from my understanding, it's roughly $120, $130 for the booster box. In the UK, it's about £110. We are seeing really high prices for the box in America. Perhaps that is a manifestation of the issue in America, where the boxes are more or less all sold out. Demand is extremely high. Because actually, if I go to the UK prices, we are seeing actually, as of the last few days, £115 more or less RRP, MSRP, 115, 130 here. Sure, we're seeing booster box cases sell for even under MSRP, which is manufacturer suggested retail price, which is essentially what they're suggesting the local game stores and vendors to sell at. We're looking at under that. It's usually 110 pounds a box. I'm seeing less. Chances are this person has wholesale prices, distribution access, so they can sell it at a cheaper price and still make a profit. But we are seeing, a pullback. Looking at 130. Looking at stable prices, more or less around recommended retail price, which is good, because for a while in the older videos you saw that things were skyrocketing to £150, 160, 170, and that's in the 230 range, and it's not what we want for a TCG that isn't even out yet. It's good to let you know that there is demand, but it's not good when we have a TCG that isn't out yet. And again, same one I was looking at earlier, prices looking very stable. So just touching on some of the arcane cards that are selling at the moment in the wild, just starting with the 2025, of course, what we're seeing in America. Again, very small sample size, because we do have only the booster packs that are being opened. So we don't have as wide a market. Really, there's no market just yet, but we are still seeing some in the wild. So we saw a yes roll for the overnumbered 305 for $200. This was actually a best offer. And if we go to the 130 point website here, we are seeing it sold for 170. So that's an interesting number. I don't know if it's on brand. Personally, I would have thought the ESL card would be worth a bit more. But at the same time, I don't think Yasuo players are in the Riftbound space just yet. I think Kaiser players are in the Riftbound space. I think Jinx players are in the Riftbound space. Victor players. I don't think Yasuo players are going to be here yet. I don't think Zed players will be here yet. Other characters, Yone, so and so. So it makes sense actually that these prices are as they are. I personally think that as these players do enter the space, that these prices will start to climb. So this is one to note. I think this is a great buy. I think $170 is a great, floor to pick this up at. I hope to just pull it. I don't really want to buy any cards at the moment. I hope to just pull as many as I can. But if I saw this at $170, I would buy that in a heartbeat. This will most certainly skyrocket over time, especially as the Yasuo players and others move into the market. So one to keep an eye out for. Just another one. I saw a PSA10 for Project K sell today morning, actually, early in the morning, for $600. Again, this isn't the legend card. This is just a pack within the Volibear trial deck, sold for $600 as a PSA10. We saw the Misfortune as well. This is from the Yasuo trial deck. Again, sold today morning, PSA10. I think someone was just on a sale, on a shopping spree, as they sold at the same time. I then saw the Lucian Altart 078A sell for, the best offer was $95. This is again for Riftbound that's being found in Walmart at the moment. This one sold actually for $65. The best offer, it was listed as $95. Best offer Saturday morning 2 days ago was at $65. Again, if you guys remember, I had showed this particular card. If you remember, it was quite blurred out. This has now sold. It was listed as $89.99, but of course allowed for best offers. And if we look at the best offer, we do see it sold for $65. However, we do also see there was one yesterday for $100 that was sold. So we are seeing small movements here and there, but we aren't seeing. To be honest, I think this is more or less on brand. The TCG isn't out. There's no hype just yet. We are seeing small purchases here and there from people like yourself, people like myself, people like yourself that know about League, know about the TCG. Again, Riot Games has hardly marketed the TCG just yet, so these are extremely early doors. But expect these prices to drop as more and more enter the market. So if you look at those in the wild, we have seen more spottings of listings. We have the Volibear signature card for 1.5k in US. Great card, great signature. Signature's great. 1.5k. Of course, this is extremely high. I would value this at around, in dollar term, probably 800, 825. But of course, there is a space for best offer, so I would expect this to be, around the 800, 825 mark. But we are seeing more of these in the wild, which is good. We see the Yasuo signature out in the wild. Again, I personally think it's a fantastic card. As much as I don't play Yasuo, but I think this is a brilliant drawing. This is crazy artwork. Looking at 1.5k, honestly, I would see this as a 1k card in dollars, in US dollars, about 1k personally. Again, they have the space to make an offer. I see it being sold as 1k. Again, I will keep these all. I'll keep all these groups saved, and I can return to these and just refresh and see, has this actually sold? Has an offer been made, and has he accepted the offer? This is the same bid as we saw earlier in the other video. We do now see an extra bid, so it's now sitting at $780. Has 30 hours left in terms of the bidding. Do we see it climb more? Possibly, but again, just an update to the bid we saw earlier. There is one extra bid now. We see the Victor overnumbered in the signature. Again, if we, let's just go back to the Victor we know. This is the Victor we know. This is the Victor we grew up on. This is the new Victor from with the change based on the Arcane show. Those that are new to League of Legends and just want to get into the TCG and the game as a whole, if you guys remember, there is a show on Netflix at the moment called Arcane, based on characters from League of Legends. As you can see here, there's Caitlyn and there's Vi. These are characters from the game, the other three. But in that show, Victor, as we saw, here, if I didn't close it, Victor here has seen a major, design change to this. I don't know why. Of course, it is a pretty cool concept, pretty cool change. But I do like the Victor that I've known since 2013 when I joined the space. So I don't know. Anyway, looking at a bid starting at 850. There's been 0 bids so far, so we'll just keep an eye out for it. For the non-signature, someone has posted 500. That's way too much. It is a great card. It is definitely one of the higher in demand overnumbered cards. But I would expect more 350 for this, maybe 400. 500 is just a bit too steep. So yeah, we see the Teemo overnumbered. It's a shame. I have seen a few Teemos where they move it around, move the card around. The foiling is nice on this overnumbered. It's just not the most hyped. It is just Teemo in his sort of regular appearance. This artwork, for example, the Yasuo artwork, the Volibear artwork, compared to the flat Teemo, I mean, literally, the Teemo we see here it's more or less just on brand with the Teemo that we know. So there's no change. I can't see this being much in demand. So they're offering 430. I don't know. I don't see it being 430. Probably a $200 card, to be honest. That's me personally. I'm not a Teemo lover. I'm sure others will want more for it. Misfortune we're seeing out in the wild as well for 300. Again, probably a 250 card. Misfortune is great, but she doesn't have as wide appeal. She isn't the most played ADC out there. Leona, as I've mentioned before, looking at 300 for this at the moment. Probably best offer at 200 personally for this. Great, honestly, artwork is stunning. it is just that it is a support character, so there isn't as much demand. There aren't as many support players as there are mid, ADC like Kai'Sa, like Jinx, and jungle like Volibear and other characters that we will see over time. Kha'Zix, Rengar. When we see these characters, it will make the reference point for prices will start to make a lot of sense. Once these numbers start to appear. Again, we see another Ari for non-signature for $300. So we see a set for what looks like $40. It's a bit strange because this is the 310 overnumbered set. It looks a bit dark. Here is, I've just posted the Chinese version, which is a lot brighter, but we're seeing the English version for what looks like $37. I just think that was an error by the person listing. I think they intended to do, I can see free bids. If we click on the bids, it started at it started at $1. Okay, fair enough. A bit silly to start it at $1. You don't have to start it at $1. So it's now, yeah, that was a bit silly. Well, let's see how the bid goes then. I see this as, at least around $250 is what I think this card is priced at the moment, just because of set and who he is as a character. Top lane character, very strong character, very annoying character to deal with. And yeah, I do think that this is worth $250, and we'll just have to see how that goes, how this bid goes. I'll keep an eye out for the bid, so I'll be on the lookout. And then lastly, we have the Misfortune. This isn't the overnumbered, we've seen the overnumbered, but just another sort of alt art, great alt art. So I thought I'd just share it here as well. I'll keep an eye out for it as well. Again, I'll be on the lookout for more and more of these cards that come up in the wild, and I'll of course check how they sold and what price they actually sold at, because of course these are just prices that sellers are throwing into the wild, and of course if a buyer wants it at that price, then they'll buy it. If they don't want it, then these listings will just stay as is or get revised and brought down. So again, that's it right now. I think the market is in an interesting place. It's just started, so there isn't much of a market. I think we will start to see the prices change. I think we will see a lot of the League of Legends players enter into the space, and a lot of them are a bit, what's the word? Not immature, but less mature. You will have some smarter guys, but you will have some of the, the young. It is a game at the end of the day that is played by, people from 16 years old into their 20s. So we will see even 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds that are a bit silly, a bit degenerate come into space, and I think the prices will fluctuate up and down, but we will find some semblance of floors and ceilings for each card and start to have an understanding of the market. Again, this is super early days. Let's look at, it'll be good to have a recap in a year's time to see what prices are like, and even a year's time will be early days. One Piece has been out for 3 years, Pokemon's been out of course for 30 years, Magic the Gathering's been out for God knows how long. There are loads of new TCGs popping up, but of course League of Legends is not even out yet. So it will be interesting to see how things are in a year's time, 2 years, 3 years. We will do recaps, across the space of 3 months, 6 months, to look at booster boxes, the price of all the cards in that booster box, and how they are comparing in the last 3 months, 6 months. Are things going up? Things going down? Is interest growing in a few cards? Is interest waning in a few cards? So we will see over time how it's doing. But this is just early days, Let me stop there. Okay guys, that's me done. Again, I appreciate so much the support I'm seeing, the amount of views. It's great. It seems, like I said, the algorithm has picked up the channel, which is great, at least for the long form content stuff. I will keep to that, as that's kind of what I like to do. I like to just talk for a while and speak my mind on things League of Legends. Yeah, completely appreciate it. 15 subscribers, that's fantastic. If I can get to 20 by the end of this week, that'd be fantastic. If I beat that, then let's try to get to 30. But I'm happy if we can get to 20. So, and it is Monday, so it's just the start of the week. So let's see how it goes. But that's me out. Again, like, comment, subscribe if you like League of Legends. If you are interested in Riftbound. and let's see where this goes. Cedo cards out.